Okay. Okay, so these 3 tools I'm going to share are 3 free tools for finding your keywords. But before you get started with that, I recommend having like a Google Doc or a Google Sheet where you begin by brainstorming like a base list of keywords to start. So like, for example, I would list marketing, small businesses, marketing tips, marketing resources, just anything that comes to your mind first for like about your business or how your audience is going to search for your business. So you want to start with a base list of keywords before you move on to these tools. So with your base list of keywords is what you're going to plug into these tools here. And the first one is just good old Google. So when you type in your word, so like I chose small business marketing, I type that into Google search, and you're going to see on an auto-populated list of results that people are searching for in relation to your keyword. So from there, you're going to pull things that are relevant to you. So I would choose ideas, I would skip companies, I would choose consultant, I would skip statistics, but I could choose grants. That could be something I write about. And I would skip jobs. So yeah, you're just going to pull things that are relevant to you and add that to your list. And after you search for your first term, you'll scroll down and you'll see the related searches, and you'll do the same thing. So pull things that are relevant to you and skip the things that aren't so relevant. So I would choose low-cost marketing ideas, unique ideas, out-of-the-box ideas, and I would add all of those to my list to use for keywords or for content. And then you can just go like almost infinitely. So you'll just add those to your list, and then you can just keep searching through those keywords and then pull more and just keep going probably forever with like Google search keywords there. This example here on the right is a Chrome extension. If anybody here uses Google Chrome, there are a lot of good SEO extensions for Chrome. And Keyword Surfer is one of them, and it's a free tool as well. There's a free and a paid version. So this, when you plug it in, it'll pop up on the right side of your Google searches, and it'll tell you more keywords. It'll give you like the search volume, which is important to know. And it's just some more and different keywords than Google provides you sometimes. Another tool that is free but also has a paid premium version as well is called SEMrush. And this tool is like, it's really invaluable if you're trying to really dive into SEO. I think the paid version, the last time I checked, was $119 a month. But this tool itself could have like its whole own workshop. There's like so many different things that SEMrush has available to you. But for the sake of simple SEO, you can search for free. You'll do the same thing, type in your keyword, and then it'll give you a ton of options that are related to that, along with the search volume, which is really important too. So with the search volume, I like to choose a lot of keywords that have a high search volume, and you want a mix of medium search volume to low search volume. And that just kind of shows you, one, how many times that term is searched in 1 month. So obviously, if people are searching a lot for this top one here, they have small business marketing. That would obviously be something that I want to get in on. But because so many people are searching for that, it's obviously going to have a really high competitor rate. So I like to choose a mix of search volumes just to kind of help me get seen on like smaller searches or lower competitors. That's just a good little strategy there. And the next one I think is called Stooble, bless you. Stooble.com, and it is like essentially the same as the Google that I was talking about in the first example. So this website will show you what people are searching for on all the platforms at one time. So it'll show you Google, Yahoo, Bing, and then it also shows you YouTube, which is really helpful because YouTube shows up on Google search results, or just if people are searching on YouTube in general. And then if you have any products on Amazon, that'll show you search results there as well. So that's really helpful for e-commerce products. But that's another free tool to use. Okay, so you've now built up this massive list of keywords. What do we want to do with them? So again, don't feel overwhelmed. Just be descriptive in your content. So before I describe where to list everything on your website, don't feel overwhelmed by it. And another thing to note is that you want to write things for a human reader, for a viewer. You're not writing things for Google and the algorithm. Everything that you do, you want it to make sense for people that are reading it. So you don't want to stuff your keywords and over again, or else people aren't going to read your content and they're just going to leave. So the first place that you want to use your keywords is in your URL. So for example, if you are creating a new blog post, depending on what your website platform is, the blog title, or sorry, the URL will automatically populate based off of your blog title. Or sometimes it just kind of fills in random letters and words, or letters and numbers. So I like to manually create my URLs because sometimes your blog titles can be a little long. So for example, if I were to post this workshop as a blog, I wouldn't call it April workshop. I would call it SEO workshop. So anybody that's searching for SEO workshop, this blog will be optimized because it's going to be in our URL and then everywhere else that I'm about to mention. So your header is another important part that you'll want to list keywords in. So your headers are any of your like title pieces, or when you're editing your blog and you see any of the H tags, so it'll say like H1, H2, and so on. Those headers are other big things that Google pull from first. So having keywords listed in your headers is really important. The next one is obviously the content itself. So just listing your keywords in your content. And again, just focusing on being descriptive, writing things for human, and not using your keywords so repetitively. Like I wouldn't just use SEO workshop as my only keyword for this blog. I would want to have maybe 10 that I'm using. So that way it's not so repetitive. Okay, the next two, the meta description and your image alt text, are a couple like back end things that you'll see. So no matter what platform you're using for your website, you'll see a place to edit your meta description and your image alt text. So one, the meta description is a very short blurb about the page that you're writing. And that's shown on like Google search results. So for example, when you search plant and marketing, and that shows up as a Google search result, right underneath that is where you'll see like a short description of what viewers can expect to see on that page. If you don't write your meta description on your own, any platform that you're using is just going to kind of pull from the first block of text that they see on your website. And that may not be the most descriptive thing for the viewer. It probably won't have keywords. So you just kind of want to change your meta description to be a little bit more descriptive and to the point about what's on that page, and not just like a random block of text. And lastly, the image alt text. I have a little bit of mixed feelings using alt text as a place to have your keywords. So if you don't know what the image alt text is for, it's for people who are visually impaired. The screen readers will read what the image alt text is and explain the image for the people who are visually impaired. So while the image alt text does help with your SEO, I don't like to spam that and have this like endless list of keywords, because if people are using screen readers, they're just going to be forced to hear this like list of keywords, right? So again, just make it like descriptive about the image, use a keyword, but still make it make sense. Don't like spam people. All right, so I think we all have a universal problem of not knowing what content to create and feeling overwhelmed with coming up with ideas and thinking, like endlessly thinking of content to write. So use your keyword list as an idea generator. So we have this list of things that people are constantly searching for. So just refer to that list when you're looking for content and you'll have like endless ideas. So I know a lot of people struggle with coming up with content, and I do as well, but I just have to refer to my keyword list and then you'll have endless content, whether that's for your blogs or your, anything really. If you want to make free downloads, if you want to make social content, blogs, or anything at all, this is content that people are searching for all the time. All right, a few website best practices to help with SEO as well. So again, just make sure that you're writing everything for a human, not the algorithm. So make things like visually appealing. So you're going to have a blog and you don't want it just to be one massive text, like one massive block of text. You want to break it up, use images, use your headers to kind of separate things. You want to make things easy to scan through because people don't spend a lot of time online anymore, like reading stuff. So making it scannable. Using bulleted points is really good for the viewer, but also really helpful for Google as well. You know, when you Google things and you see those like snippet results, those are all bulleted points pulled from people's blogs. And then Google will list your blog right after that. So using bulleted points is a good way to kind of get on those featured snippets. But that may change a little bit with AI, but we'll see where that goes. And then next, making sure that your blogs are like longer, they're over 1,000 words. Again, Google is looking for quality content. They want people, or they want content that will keep people on your page longer. They want content that is valuable. So just again, always write for a human, make things valuable, and just do your best to like keep people on your page longer. Another thing is that people often forget to make their website optimized for mobile. How many people here use their phone to Google search something? Probably everybody here. So make sure that your website is optimized for Google and it's responsive, which means that no matter what size screen people are using, the layout of the page isn't going to change, or it's just going to flow with the size of the screen. So if people are using a tablet or a smaller screen, a larger screen, it's responsive enough to shift to no matter what size screen that they're using. And so Google will recognize that as well, and that will help you with your ranking. And then next is to have a fast loading speed. So again, it's something Google prioritizes, is if people can get to your page quickly. And then also it helps if people are able to get to your page and then make it and like stay on your page. So another thing that Google is watching for is your bounce rate. So if people just come and they leave in like 1 second, Google is going to say something's wrong with this page and they're not going to boost that up higher. So if you can get people to stay on your web page for longer, that is what helps Google as well. So having a fast loading speed so people aren't waiting is really important for that. Okay. So moving now to our SEO for social media. I recommend this starting off the same as well. So having a separate keyword list. I like to have a separate list for Google, for Instagram, for Pinterest, for literally every platform. And again, you're going to start by brainstorming a list of ideas. I like to have a separate list for everything because people, the keywords are going to be slightly different. You'll notice a pretty consistent theme across everything. But people go to platforms for different things. So, you all mentioned Google, and that's probably going to be our go-to for main questions and like longer content. But what you search for on Instagram will be like completely different, and we all have different uses for each platform. So I like to treat each of them as their own. So how do we find keywords on TikTok and Instagram? So as I mentioned earlier, I think TikTok is doing the best at leading the search. So their search capabilities are much better than on Instagram, where you can go to TikTok and search for a whole question and you'll find content for that. Whereas on Instagram, you're kind of just stuck. You can only search for like one word at a time. If you type in a whole like a whole question on Instagram, it's not really going to give you what you're looking for. So it's more for like visual inspiration. Whereas TikTok, you can search for a whole question of something and you'll find a response to that. So on TikTok, if you start the same way, have your main keyword and then just start pulling all of the related search results that pop up under that. And then also if you have, like you search for one keyword and you'll scroll down a little bit, you'll see just like on Google, a section called others searched for, and you'll see other like search terms. And then same thing, pull the ones that are related to you, add those to your list, and then you can just keep going endlessly searching for like on all the new keywords that you find. I don't have any tools like specifically for finding keywords on these apps. I think that this system works pretty well on its own. But on that same note, TikTok has a great like creator platform where you can search for trending keywords and tags, and that'll give you the search volume as well and tell you like the trends of keywords. So you can see like if people are searching for it now, or like what the history of that search has been. So that's really helpful. And I just thought of that now. I didn't add it to the list, but I'm pretty sure it's just called TikTok Creator Center, something like that. Yeah, TikTok Creator Center. If you Google that, it'll take you to that side of TikTok for you. Okay, so then Instagram is the same sort of. I just like to search for my words and then I'll find related words. And same thing for tags. So you can go through hashtags that way and find hashtags that are relevant to you. But again, Instagram is really struggling to keep up with TikTok on this front. The search isn't as useful. But again, their algorithms do really well at sending content that you want. It's still not as good as TikTok is, but for the Reels, for example, you're going to see a lot of Reel content that is relevant to you. And that just goes back to the advice of being really descriptive with your content, and Instagram will send it to who it needs to go to. Okay. So now we have our list built of keywords for social. Where do these all go? So for Instagram here, a big thing is having your keywords in your name. Your handle is searchable as well, and that's like what comes after your @ right? And that's pretty searchable. It's more searchable on Instagram than TikTok. So I do like to have a keyword in there, but that's usually your business name. Your handle is your business name, so you don't really want to fill that with keywords as well. But your name itself, not your handle on the platforms, is also searchable. And actually, Instagram does a better job of this than TikTok. So my name isn't usually a brand name. It's usually what I'm about. So I have digital marketing agency. You could have your descriptive keywords there. Some people have their brand name like dash keywords, but that's a really good spot to have some words listed there. Your bio is a good place, but it's not as searchable. So I like to have that be more descriptive of like what you do, what you offer, rather than focusing on search for that section. So just really kind of focus that portion to more of the reader and people that are already on your page and like helping describe what you do there. Not so much filling that with keywords. So for the rest of your keywords, you want to fill that in your content, but again, like making it minimal, make it make sense to a person, but just being more descriptive. So in your captions on any platform, you can use those in your hashtags and then in your content itself. So whether you're doing like a static post with a graphic or like text as a graphic, or if you're creating video content, the algorithms are going to they're reading everything that you're writing or you're creating, and they're scanning all of that. So just have your keywords in that. Yeah. So again, just be descriptive and that'll just make a world of difference on its own. And then lastly, again, use this to help you create ideas. I fully understand the struggle of like endlessly coming up with ideas and not knowing what to post or what to create. But this keyword research is really helpful for coming up with ideas as well. This is stuff that people are searching for on those specific platforms. So just use that to help you create content. And then lastly is just staying updated. So we've done all this keyword research. How often do we need to keep doing it? So for your social handles, which was not your handles, sorry, your social names, which is this part right here. I like to update that when it's timely. So like for me, as a service-based business, not super relevant, but if you're selling a product that's like great for spring, or if you're great for a specific holiday, or like Black Friday is coming up, we want to change these names to be relevant to whatever's happening. For your blog and your website content. So for your blogs, I always recommend being realistic with what you can do consistently. So if you can do 8 blogs a month, like consistently month after month, then that's cool, do that. But if you can't do that like month after month and that feels overwhelming to you, just be really realistic about what you can do consistently. And if that's just like 2 blogs a month, then that's good. But just as long as you're keeping your website updated and having new content like on a consistent basis, that is good, and Google loves seeing new content. On that same note of blogs, I also having like dead pages on your website that don't get a lot of visits anymore. Google's not interested in that. It's not interested in old content. So for example, I had a travel, like a tourism client, I guess, and we would do a lot of content throughout the year that's like spring events or Halloween events, Christmas events, whatever. And it would say like events of the year. So like what to do for Easter in 2024. So every year I would update that and change out the events and then change the title so it's to the updated year. So that way I'm not having all of these old blog pages that one are very outdated and nobody's going to anymore. So just keeping your blogs timely and relevant, which is also really helpful too, because that helps you not have to create more content ideas. You can just kind of refresh old blog content. So that's something I like to do once a month as well, is just go back to the very first blog posted, update it, change the date so that it's posted recently. So you're just kind of refreshing and recycling through your content and keeping everything pretty up to date. And then your website text. Same thing with that. I like to do that quarterly. If it's not like for a service-based business, I'll update mine quarterly because I'm not like attached to certain seasons of things. But if you're an e-commerce product and you have things that are timely, just always keep them fresh and updated. Again, just as long as your pages are staying updated, Google will really appreciate that. And what else? I think that's about it. So I would love to have any questions if you are curious about anything else, or if there's anything that I didn't get to, or if you'd like to talk about your specific product, feel free to do that now. But if not, we can just wrap this up early and have a great Friday. Okay, Rachel said, what if our Instagram picture is just the logo? Should we still keep the title name of what we do? Example, marketing agency. So our logos aren't really red. Oh, I get what you're saying. Yeah, so I would say just make it say marketing agency rather than your name. Let me look at that. And then, or you can type in it. So like, I would say, like, that's what I would make mine look like if my logo was just a logo and not my name. So that way you could still have your business name, but then be a little bit more descriptive of what you do, or have a keyword in there. All right, any other questions or anything else? Yes, Tina.
Hi, thank you so much for your presentation.
Oh yeah.
I'm selling like hearing aids online, but so it's like not really related to like seasonality. It's more like a necessity for people who have hearing loss. And I was just wondering like what would your suggestions be if I want to create like a social media presence for a hearing aid company?
Okay, that's a big question. So, like, do you mean like what your content would be, or what do you mean specifically?
Yeah, like what type of content should I be focusing on? Because I don't want it to be like super salesy where it's all about like
Mm-hmm.
product lunches or like product promos.
Mm-hmm. And are you selling to people or to like other brands to carry your product?
Mostly to people.
Okay, that's a really interesting product, and I would need to like think about, I think. Um, hmm. Why don't you send me your email? You can do it in a direct message if you want, and I will brainstorm some ideas for you.
Thank you so much.
Of course. Okay, Rachel said, if you don't stay consistent with the number of blogs, does Google lower your SEO score? So I think like if you're doing, like if you're blasting out, like, okay, maybe you're feeling really productive one month and we're doing 10 blogs, and then the next month it's like 0 blogs, and then the next month we're struggling again and have like 1 blog. Like having these really quiet periods kind of, I don't think it's gonna like kill your website, but just being consistent is really important to Google because they see that you're constantly updating stuff. My dog is also dying in the background. I hope you can't hear him. Okay, so I think it's just more about being consistent, and then instead of like to avoid the quiet periods, if that makes sense. And then you also asked if reel covers are necessary. So, reel covers are necessary from like an aesthetic point, or just to help people, like viewers, find specific content, but not necessary for like SEO purposes. But like I like to have reel covers that are text so that when people are scrolling through my reels, they can find content that they're specifically looking for rather than just like kind of guessing or tapping on things randomly or just leaving because they don't know what they're looking at. Those are all good questions. All right, anything else? Ooh, oh, that's a really good question. I should have answered that. How long does it take to rank on Google? Okay, SEO is a long haul, like long-term process. So one, there's a lot of variables on how long it takes to rank on Google, and that really depends on like your competitors, obviously. But essentially it's a long process. But if you're really consistent on posting a lot of blog content, that'll help you a lot. If you do like a deeper dive into SEO and you're doing like you're really filling out your headers and you're optimizing all of your pages, that will help you a ton. Doing a lot of like back-end SEO, which is a more complex process. Having just really high quality content and getting people to stay on your page, that will help you a lot. But it is kind of a longer game, but that also really depends on your industry and how like competitive it is too. And on that same note, I've done Google Ads for people that has really helped boost their organic traffic, which I feel like is cheating a little bit from Google, but I have seen that. And so if you're also running Google Ads, that will help you organically as well. Do Instagram Reels rank in Google when optimized? Okay. Instagram had a period where they were showing up on Google, but I don't see that very often anymore. But things like YouTube, TikTok shows up on Google, Pinterest shows up on Google. So if you spend a lot of time focusing on that, those show up. But I haven't seen Reels on Google in a while. How does Google know your website is connected to your social media? What do you mean by that? I think I need a little more clarification. Or how do they know it's the same brand? I'll come back to that. Okay, yeah. So when you create your Google profile, there's a place to like have all of those links there. So that could be a way. But I don't know if Google knows that you're necessarily related, but if you have like your same name everywhere, your same handle, so if like people search for planted marketing, they're gonna see my website and all of my platforms because my name is the same on all the platforms, but they'll also find like there's a couple other people that have taken my name, Plankton Marketing, and those could pop up too. So it's not exactly that it knows you're related, it's just that it's pulling all those names. Is it helpful to boost Instagram ads? So Instagram ads, good, yes. The boost feature on Instagram is not helpful. You can't really target people. You can't like set up your ad structure. Like, if you're creating a legitimate ad on Instagram, you can set up your whole structure and your whole goal. But boosting posts on Instagram is just almost throwing money away. You don't really have like goals to it. So I always recommend if you're going to spend on Instagram, setting up the ads legitimately instead of boosting posts. What steps should be taken before you start doing ads, or are ads always a good idea? So that's a really good question. I always recommend having a really strong organic strategy before you launch your ads. So if you get people to convert from your ad, and you get them to click over to your profile, and let's say you've just launched and there's like nothing there yet, they're not going to follow you and you're kind of losing that person. So I always recommend having a strong foundation before you launch your ads. Some people recommend already having a really strong organic funnel that is working before you run ads. But I don't know, I kind of feel like sometimes you need that extra boost to get that funnel going. So it really depends again on like your industry, who your audience is, how much your product is. If you have like an expensive product, you're obviously talking to a very different audience. So there are a lot of like variables on that, but I do recommend everybody have a really strong foundation, and that's on social and on your website before doing ads. Great questions, everybody. Any other thoughts or questions? All right. Well, thank you all for coming. And if you do have any questions, you're welcome to reach out to me through email or find me on LinkedIn or Instagram or anywhere else. I'm around and I'm happy to help you guys. And somebody voted for the next course and they said social media, I think. So that will be the next one, and just stay tuned for that. And you can find that through Meetup or through my website if you're interested. Have a great Friday, everybody. I'll talk to you soon.